Ball knocked loose. White dive on it.
This is twice now the Celtics have been first to the floor.
They try to save with Horford. Unbelievable.
Boston first to the floor. So good.
Brown fakes, fires up the three. Bang! Tatum dives on the floor. Everybody dives. Jaylen Brown with the flush. Blocked by Porzingis. He's doing it all. Tatum spinning, driving, layup. Washington drives. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derek White.
Spoonie here for First to the Floor. We are Benless today without the fearless leader, but Jake and I holding it down. Jake, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. Big weekend of basketball. Yeah, it's good to be back. Obviously no late nights over the weekend, so because we were kind of away, but we're back. Big news on my end, being cleared for lower body walking, some light activity, which means back to surfing. And it reminded me of the games this weekend. So like this weird piece of like surfing subculture. Like you go to the beach, you got your board, your wetsuit, and like if you see someone coming in or out of the water, like you just ask them, like, how's it looking or something like that. And without fail, almost always the person just kind of like says it wasn't very good in some like weird way. And today this like old dude was like, oh, a bit fat and wonky. And I'm like, oh, fat and wonky will have to do. And it was pretty fat and wonky, but you always have a good time. And I feel this past weekend of basketball, a little bit wonky. I'm not sure if you can describe basketball as fat or skinny, but kind of a wonky weekend of basketball. We had a great time and we got out of it 2-0.
Yeah, we got out of it 2-0. And, my bet on who would come back sooner and be ready for game sooner, you or Chris Middleton, I bet on you, Jake. So it looks like I'm going to win that bet. But yeah, so the Celtics, obviously, the big story is beat the Bucks 113-107 and just made their year from hell even worse. But also, they did beat the feisty Brooklyn Nets 108-104. But I think you want to jump into the Bucks game first, probably. Or actually, it looks like you got some stats for us, Jake. Hit us with it.
I know. I mean, in theory, we should start with the 7th seed Nets and not the 14th seed Milwaukee Bucks here. So, but I guess we'll start with the most recent thing. But I guess kind of like the trend from the weekend. I was like talking with my dad, and he's like, maybe they should like not play bad in the first quarter. That would help them potentially. Maybe less lazy threes, maybe, how they're mismatch hunting late, do that early. So I looked at the first quarter stats, and like on the season, the Celtics are second in net rating in the first quarter. I was like, okay, maybe if I include the Pacers game, because they went down big in that one as well. So that's the last 7 games, includes the last 2. They're still 5th in first quarter net rating. Now, if you want to look at the last 2 games, they are 26th in net rating, and I just don't 2 games essentially means nothing. So I think when something happens 2 games in a row, you can be quick to say, this is a trend, but it's 82 games. Most likely this is going to be an outlier. We've got to keep our eye on it, obviously, but I'm not ready to say the Celtics have a first quarter problem.
Yeah, and I think for me, it's always process, right? And I would say maybe the Brooklyn game, they came out a little flat. They came out a little fat and wonky in that Brooklyn game, maybe. Yeah. But the Bucks game, I really thought the process was mostly fine. I think they sort of let the Bucks run, get them out of the offense a little bit. But for the vast majority of the Bucks run, it's like Taurean Prince hits 3 threes in the first 4 minutes of the game, 2 of which were behind a pick and roll, pull up, contested. It's like that shit's just going to happen over 82 games. And guess what? He didn't hit another 3 for the rest of the game, I'm pretty sure. If he did, it was one late when the C's were pretty much in control of the game. So weird stuff's going to happen. And I thought defensively, other than I thought they defended Giannis a little differently than they normally do. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit when we talk the Bucks game. But like I just thought process wise, especially in the Bucks game, it's not worrying to me. I'm not really surprised to see the stats that were really good in the first quarter. I would venture a guess we are probably one of the best teams in every single quarter because
Correct.
when you're 9-2 and some of these wins are absolutely massive, you're probably blowing people out in all four quarters pretty evenly. So I'm not worried about it at all. I think if we're, after this back-to-back, if we have two shitty first quarters, maybe we can kind of revisit the conversation and see like what's going on here. But ultimately, man, it's never really if anything, I feel like Tatum in the first quarter has been like the story of the season outside of Peyton Pritchard too. So not concerned yet. I will say that.
Yep. I thought the same thing after looking at the numbers, and I was like, yeah, you just got to take a step back sometimes in the NBA season and realize that there's 82 games, things are going to happen in a variety of ways, and sometimes they just happen like right next to each other, and they might not end up meaning something. We'll see. Now, are they doing this on purpose is the big question. Did they decide to go down 15 points?
The Missoula mind games, yeah.
Yeah. Like they kind of let the Pacers get too big of a lead in that one. So like I think 24 points with like 6 minutes to go. That's when the Celtics they even got that thing to overtime as well. But so this is their new challenge, spotting the other team a 15-point lead. Yeah. And because look, are they doing that? No. Is it more valuable to get two clutch games, one of which goes to overtime? I mean, technically, probably yes. I'd prefer them to not do that and just win these games by 20, so they can just rest their dudes and we can experience low levels of stress. But they did get two clutch wins on in the last two games, and I was like, okay, is that more? Does that mean they've played 5 clutch games in the first 9 or 10? So that's or 11, I guess. Yes, 9 and 2. They played 33 clutch games last year, so technically they're on pace to play a lot more clutch games than they were last year. But again, like. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say no KP, no Jaylen Brown for 4 of those games, and I think at least 2 of the games that were clutch games were without Jaylen Brown. And the offense has tanked without either Jay on the court. And our net rating absolutely tanks without either Jay on the court. Like, we're amazing with Tatum or both Jays. We're pretty good with Jaylen and no Tatum. And then we are been fucking terrible without either of them on the court. So, like, having Jaylen Brown matters. So it's not super shocking to me when you're missing your second and third best player that maybe you're going to, like, look a little worse and end up in some closer games against teams maybe you would blow out if you had at one of those guys, and definitely if you had both of them. So I'm not too worried about that early trend. But for me, that's something to keep an eye on. And I think part of it is because, like, they're definitely coasting at times. And when you coast in the NBA, Dennis Schroeder all of a sudden has 20 points in the third quarter. And you're like, wait a second, what is going on? Why can't we, like, now they're confident. Now, like, Cam Thomas is hitting step backs in your face. And it's like, uh-oh, now we're in for a game. So I wouldn't be shocked if we have, like, a pretty good amount of our games, like, so you said we had 30 last year. I wouldn't be shocked if like near half of them, if there's like 10 more this year. I mean, I don't think that would be a crazy increase.
Yeah, and I guess 33 is still quite a lot, like 33 of 82. And clutch numbers and stuff is also just weird. Like, you can be up 10 with like 4 minutes to go, but then they cut it to like 4 with 60 seconds left or 30 seconds left. And that technically counts as a clutch game, but they never really had a chance to actually win the game. So that counts as clutch. So that is always a weird thing. I do think that the clutch games they've played so far have been clutch. The Pacers, the Warriors, the last 2 games. I'm forgetting the 5th one off the top of my head. But yeah, so I don't think there's anything to it. They're at a 60% win pace in clutch games. They're at 64% last year, 14.5 net rating this year, 15.4 net rating last year. Again, nothing to read into really. Just interesting to kind of like, I wanted to have a look at just to see 10 games in, 11 games in, if there's anything we can kind of have a look at. But the Bucks game, let's start there. Unless you have anything else on the clutch stuff. But
no, not really. I think real quick, last takeaway, the net rating I think is super encouraging because that means like when games get to clutch, we're beating the shit out of teams. And like, that's the most important thing. Yeah, the Bucks game, dude. We gotta start with like,
Yep.
fuck these guys, right? I mean, like Giannis, come on, this is like ridiculous. What did you think when he smashed Jaylen in the face with his elbow? They didn't even look at it. Like, if you look at it and you're like, not a flagrant, fine. But they didn't even look at it. And then that ridiculous schoolyard handshake bullshit.
Oh my god! Oh my! I'm like generally a Giannis respecter.
Yeah,
Like,
same, dude.
Not a Bucks respecter, that's for sure. But Giannis, coming into the season, I'm like, look, they have Giannis. If things break right, that's still a team that you have to respect. And the 2 games the Celtics have played against him, he's been awesome still, and the games have been quite close. That play, like we watched, it's not just Celtics games, you watch in basketball every day. Anytime anyone gets hit in the head, it's like pretty much an automatic review. And especially something like that where it was just really obvious. One, they called the offensive foul. So it's like they already admitted that he did something. And so the thing that he did was elbow him in the head. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a foul. And so for them to not trigger the replay after him just like clearly violently elbowing Jaylen in the head.
Yeah.
And then so the handshake thing, if it had been like a different scenario in like, let's say, Giannis dunked on Jaylen or whatever, and then he does the handshake thing. Giannis, I thought in that moment was going to be like, I got away with elbowing you in the head.
My bad.
I'm going to extend a bit of an olive branch here. But so like to do like the flagrant thing where like I've violently elbowed you in the head and then done the guard him thing, I got so mad, dude. I got so mad in the moment. And obviously Bucks fans are like, oh, he's so mad just because he got. It's like, no, I'm mad because he elbowed him in the head and like he's supposed to be a superstar and these 2 guys should have some kind of mutual respect. It goes back to like a lot of the NBA doesn't seem to like Giannis very much. Like a lot of like the other superstars don't really mess with Giannis. That really pissed me off.
I think part of it is like his media, he's getting LeBron levels of media team going with like some of the propaganda, like, oh, my little ring my bell and my wife comes over and, you know, that goofy shit. And like, oh, I dunk my cookies in milk and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like crap like that. It's like, oh, I love smoothies. That's my favorite part about America. And it's like, all right, dude, like
it was cute
enough.
a while ago. It's like, okay,
now you're a
got it
30-year-old man. Let's like maybe chill out a little bit. But I do you think it's like run and jump, man? Jump high, dunk hard, and that's all he has to his game. And like, because guys don't respect Rudy Gobert at all. And it's like, I think part of it's like, because I feel like I'm way better at actual basketball skills than you. You're just really huge and athletic, and that's why you're successful. And guys don't respect that. It's like why they respect Kyrie.
I was literally
he's
thinking
like
the
the ultimate.
thing.
Yeah, he's the ultimate like technician and does like crazy shit that nobody else can do, despite his diminutive size. So I wonder if that's part of it. But then also like, how many people has Giannis elbowed? Or like stuck his leg out on, or like pushed or cheap shotted. Like he does it as much as Bam does. And I feel like people will call Bam dirty all day. And Giannis never gets mentioned.
I don't like calling guys dirty, but like I'm very comfortable calling guys like reckless. And the way that Giannis plays, like you can't have it both ways. Like he gets so like when he gets called for offensive fouls or whatever, there's like this fury from the other side on Bucks fans, like, oh, he's just got to get in the weight room. He can't handle the yarn. It's like, well, then you don't get to have it both ways. When and then Jaylen gets called for the flagrant on the other end when he like hits back, which was like half as dangerous as what Giannis did to Jaylen. It was funny. I definitely think there is that element where because he's just 7 foot, insanely freaky athleticism wise, that guys are just like, and he's corny. There's like the famous video of Giannis winning the All-Star MVP, and he wins the MVP, and Ernie gives him the mic, and Giannis goes, "Winner, winner, chicken dinner," and it's just like you can see Bam and Dame, ironically, in the background, both like talking to each other and laughing, and they hear Giannis say that, and they both just kind of roll their eyes and stop laughing immediately. And it's like, wow, I can only imagine now Dame being around this dude every day who is unable to play with him while Dame just becomes more and more washed. That dudes are just like, yeah, I don't know. It is also just generally ironic that dudes like don't respect people for being big and athletic. It's like, well, there's probably a ton of dudes. Yeah, it's like a ton of dudes that are like 5'11" that are as skilled as whoever, but there's no chance of them ever making the NBA because they're not 6'6". But so that's kind of funny.
Yes, that is definitely funny. And I will say, like, that elbow, dude, like he was up, man.
Yeah,
like I felt like that was intentional, or reckless beyond, like reckless to the point where like it might as well be intentional. But hey, that wasn't the only thing he should have gotten called for a flagrant foul on. He also jumped into Jayson Tatum's landing space. And like, I did the mistake of going on Twitter and seeing people be like, well, Tatum jumped forward. Tatum jumped forward like 6-7 inches. And if you've taken a jump shot, that happens sometimes. You got a forward sway on your jump shot. And Giannis stuck that left leg way the hell out, got it under Tatum's foot. They didn't even call a foul on that one. Bad. And yet again, this is something every single time they go to the screen and look at it. And again, if you go to it and you say like, you know what, not a flagrant, okay. They didn't even look at it again. And it makes absolutely no sense. They completely missed it. The ref, she was like right there next to them watching it and did not make the call.
That ref is bad. She has been a culprit many times. And Mark Davis, the night before, I thought was garbage as well. But this ref, there's a bunch of, I just want to make it like a girl ref thing. But like, I know this ref a bunch of times has been really bad. And to be standing right there watching it, when again, same with the Jaylen thing, same with this thing. You watch basketball every day. This gets called. It's just like automatic. It's an automatic review. And Tatum is not a guy that jumps out far. Like he's a guy that is very up and down relative to a lot of guys. And you watch the replay and it's like the textbook Giannis just like contests and then at the last second slides his foot under. Again, I don't think Giannis is like sliding his foot under intentionally. I just think that like, that's like again a natural movement, but you have similar to the NFL where dudes have had to be trained to like tackle and release. So many guys are so good at now in the NBA, they contest like on the sides of dudes. They go past players. Yep. That's how you contest is like on the left and right of people. And because you don't want to give up flagrant fouls. You don't want to foul 3-point jump shooters, which is what this was. So it's like not a flagrant foul, also not 3 free throws, and Tatum hurt his ankle. It's like, boom, it's like 3 shotgun blows to the chest, and then obviously like there's nothing you can do after that. I guess like Tatum's pissed because all you get is a I'm sorry, but like I'm not sure what she's supposed to do after she misses it. Honestly, like besides that, but you just have to. There needs to be like I don't know. There just needs to be something where they can just trigger. But like I don't know. Otherwise, you're always stopping the play. Just be better, dude. You just have to be better.
Yeah, you just can't miss that. Yeah, I believe the ref was Natalie Sago, who's a name I've heard before, which is usually a bad sign. Have you ever heard of Simone Jelks?
No.
Yeah, that's a woman ref in the NBA. That probably means she's pretty good or fine if you don't know their name. There's a lot of them. This is not like a male-female thing at all. Natalie Sago is not a good ref, and she missed that call really, really bad. And then Darvin Ham on top of it, smiling
from St.
in the
Louis.
background. Oh, interesting.
Brian in the chat.
The plot thickens, Natalie Sago from
This better not be
St.
fake
Louis.
news, Brian in the chat.
Yeah. Darvin Ham stupidly smiling in the background, got him. We got him. That's what is like even worse about that play is like that is like the exact spot Zaza did it to Kawhi Leonard and like basically ended the Spurs run. And really like Kawhi's been healthy like 1 year since then, and it was the year they won the title with Toronto. And it's like exact same spot, very similar play. That's like the exact spot and play that they added the rule to get rid of it. And he does it right there and just nothing. But anyway, We should
That's
probably
some
talk a
bullshit.
little bit. Yeah. It was some bullshit. Yeah, basically ended Kawhi's career. But yeah, like a lot of good stuff, mostly in the second quarter in this game. Held the Bucks to 38 points in the second quarter. It just felt like once the Celtics kind of turned it on and got their shit together and the Bucks stopped hitting everything because they were shooting like 55% from three at halftime, it was kind of an avalanche and the Bucks had really no answer.
Yeah, man, they held the Bucks to 15 points in the third quarter, which I didn't even realize in real time because you were watching playback with me. Like I was on Starlink in the forest. Like I was like half on my phone computer. I was not able to do my normal analyzation of the game. So I just knew that the Celtics were losing and then winning. And that was essentially until I went back and watched more. But yeah, man, they put the clamps on in the second half. And yeah, funny, like, Tatum ends up getting there numbers wise with the free throws. I thought this was a huge stock exchange game. And I think that's classic when it comes to the Bucks. Like guards often play well, but on the flip side, once the Celtics cranked the defense, Derek and Drew, I thought Drew played some of his better defense in this game that we've seen, like really stonewalling guys. Like you can really tell when he's cranking it up because he gets so physical and dudes are just bouncing off him. So I thought he was really good defensively. And I just like, you look at their stat lines and they just do this routinely now. Like Derek, 15, 6 and 6, stealing a block, 6 for 12 from the field, 3 for 6 from 3. Drew, 15, 2 and 3 assists, 2 steals. So they combined for 30 points on like 63% true shooting. And that's just like almost every night. Like you're getting just like this insane efficient scoring, insane backcourt defense, and then they're also giving you great rebounding, both creating extra possessions offensively and on the defensive end, and then also like Derek White's straight up running the offense a ton, and then Drew's become like this connecting piece. What they give you on a night to night is exactly why I had a hard time seeing why the Celtics would go under. They're like 58.5, just because you've obviously got the Jays on a night where they don't shoot super efficiently. The stock exchange just gives you this floor that is so absurd because not only are they good offensively, they're making life just hell on the other end.
Yeah, dude. And I thought we made a really interesting adjustment at halftime where we just had Drew deny Dame Lillard the ball, like completely. And the Bucks, that's what they want to do. They want to get Dame on the ball and they want to run an action with Giannis and Dame. And if you just take Dame out of the play entirely, because Dame could not, he was in hell, dude. Like it was like Drew or Derek White all over him for 50 feet and he couldn't even get the ball, and it like totally hijacked their offense in the second half, and especially I feel like late in the fourth quarter where they're trying to get Dame the ball for like 14 seconds and then all of a sudden they're like, well shit, that didn't work. Now Giannis just has the ball with 7 seconds and has to do something with it against the set defense in Al Horford or Neemias Queta right in his grill. And like it was just beautiful, man. And I think that's what makes me feel like, go ahead and kind of lollygag through parts of this season, because when they need to turn it up defensively, they are the best defensive team in the league. And like the guards are kind of the foundational point of that. Like there's just no team with point of attack defense like that. And then you add Pritchard in too, who's like become a legitimately good defender himself. And there's just no break once we decide like, all right, man, we got to go on a run and win this game. And holy shit, is it impressive when they do it.
Shout out Ben in the chat. Darvin Ham this Christmas is going to be carving ham. I mean, just genius. This is what we're missing currently. Shout out Ben, our fearless leader. But yeah, man, it is especially like most teams are like this, but especially I feel like the Bucks in that it's Giannis and Dame when it comes to creators, especially with Chris Middleton still out. It's like very predictable, and it's like, okay. And even if it's predictable, there's certain things you're just like never going to be able to stop in the NBA, like Giannis with a head of steam, etc. But like when you're really locked in and you're scoring on the other end, giving yourself the chance to set your defense, you're able to deny Dame Lillard. You're able to like build the wall for Giannis. And this is why the Celtics are so dangerous on the other end. It's like, good, well done, you shut down Jaylen and Jayson. It's the Derek White, Drew Holiday, Peyton Pritchard, which maybe we move to after this because he did it again. But like that, what's what like this team has that other teams don't have. It's like we were able to shut down your. Congratulations on your dynamic duo, one of the best. Well, was supposed to be one of the best duos in theory, but if we are able to shut the water off one of those guys, it's like as good as Giannis is, he's not going to be able to battering ram his way to winning a game that's like close in the fourth quarter against this team.
Yeah, and I think I thought we really like did not send a ton of help at Giannis, especially in the first half. And it had mixed results at times, but I think we just tire his ass out, man. Like we make it so difficult on him that by the fourth quarter, all of a sudden he's settling for mid-range jumpers like nonstop because it's really hard to go at like Al Horford, Neemias Queta, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Jayson Tatum, like over and over and over again. And he gave it a valiant effort, but at some point it's like, you can't put your head down for that 30-second time when there's 5 minutes left in the game and get all the way to the rim. And then so that's when you rely on Dame, and it's like, oh, well, Dame has Drew Holiday up his shorts, like completely denying him the ball. So now what do? I guess we pass it to Taurean Prince in the corner for a three that he clangs, and it just completely undermines your entire offense. It was sort of like a war of attrition with Giannis where you could see him slowing down as that game went on, because I think he had 19 in the first half and he ended with 43. So, or first quarter rather, 19 in the first quarter. And ended with 43, which is obviously an incredible game, but like, look, wasn't enough to win. And they're now 2-8. Like that is a problem.
Yeah, he had. I'd say so, dude.
Yeah.
Being 14th in the East, 11. I don't care if it's 11 games into the season. We are now more than 10% in. You don't want to be in this type of hole, especially with like no sign of Chris Middleton coming back. Their schedule gets a lot easier now, which in theory we'll see, but they've also dropped a ton of games to guard the teams that they should have beaten as well. So, like it is back to the beginning where Giannis respecters, at least we were, it's hard not to be of him on the court. Like he has 43, 13 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, only 1 turnover. Like he was fucking good in this team. It's just like,
oh yeah.
You're not going to beat this Celtics team with just one guy being really good. And you were right, Taurean Prince after those first 3 threes didn't hit another shot inside the arc or outside the arc. So yeah, they're just not good enough, man. They're just not good enough. And in the second half, it was just attack Dame over and over and over again, man. He ends the game 4 for 15. Like, I think the only game that he's played well against the Celtics I can really remember was that game where the Celtics got smoked when they came off that back-to-back overtime game against Minnesota, fly to Milwaukee, 4 games, 5 nights, with Milwaukee coming off rest. That's really the only time he seemed to look really good, is either against bad teams or when he has rest, because otherwise he's just not throwing this shit together consistently.
Yeah, my mouse just died, Jake. So if you could, well, why don't we talk about Pritchard if you could take us away for like 5 minutes? But I'm with you. Dame was okay in the first game this year, but like it's not Dame Lillard
all free throws
where it's like all free throws, and it's not like terrifying Dame Lillard. How do we stop this? It's like, come on, man, like he hit that shit. But yeah, Pritchard was awesome. 17 in the first half. I felt like did just his job defensively and like saved us. Like that was clutch, even though it was in the first half.
Oh my God, Pritchard, man. Bucks fans have got to be seeing Peyton Pritchard in their nightmares at this point, between like 19 first half points in the first game against the Bucks, and then again kind of struggling for him to go 17 points in the first half alone again. Yeah. Like this is now, I mean, again, we're 11 games in, but this dude, like the 6th man of the year thing would be just sick for him to win because it would be fun. But this team is already so good. And like, we're going to maybe talk about Hauser struggling, but Pritchard has taken, Hauser was never even this good offensively. Like Hauser was like money from 3 on his catch and shoots. Pritchard is like straight up averaging like 15, 16 a game, and it's not just on catch and shoot 3-point stuff. He's getting into the lane. Defensively, he's improved as well. Like this step that he's taken, and in big moments, he is clutch. Yeah, John Cross always talks about how clutch is not always clutch. It's like, can you stop this 15-point lead from turning into a 25-point lead? And Pritchard was like, yes, I can whittle this thing down all on my fucking own here. I'm just going to be pulling up from 29 feet over and over again. And while Doc Rivers sits there with his hands on his knees while he has an aneurysm on the sideline.
Dude, I think my favorite play too was when he just went at Dame and hit a step back right in his face. Pritchard was averaging 17 points a game right now, which is like bananas. That's crazy. Like that is legitimate. I mean, that's more than Derek White averaged last year.
It's more than that. How is he even doing this, dude? It's crazy.
Dude. Yeah,
17
like,
is so many.
Yeah,
Oh
that's like a lot of points.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, we're approaching the point, like he's going to cool off a little bit from three because some of the shit he's hitting is just absolutely nuts. But like I think we've talked about it a lot, and we talked about it in our breakdown of him that we did for the Patreon. Please subscribe to that as well.
Definitely. If you're feeling the PP love, go subscribe to the Patreon, or you can just buy that single video. Me and Spoonie did 25 minutes breaking down all of Pritchard's stats, game tape, and it's like awesome. And I'm very glad that we didn't jinx him because he just came out and had another monster performance. But yeah, recommend that.
Yeah, and one of the things we were talking about is like he's raised the floor for his game with his ability now to get to the rim and hit these little mid-range jumpers, and that's going to keep his scoring a lot more consistent this year. And then when you add it with like just the pure unadulterated shot of confidence this dude has, and I felt like we kind of were letting the Bucks like take us out of the game a little bit because we couldn't get any shots to go. They were hitting bullshit, and then Pritchard comes in, he's like, fellas, give me the next 5 minutes. I got us. Don't worry. We're going to be right back in this thing when I'm done. And we were, and he did it. And he like completely flipped the game on its head. And it was basically all Celtics from that point forward.
Like, so he has 17 in the first half, but he has 12 in the second quarter alone, 4 for 6 from 3. Like, that's nuts. That's superstar shit, dude. Like a 10-point quarter, like, but this is the value of these types of players. It's like, the Malik Monks and those types of players that do win. It's like, can you come in off the bench? Especially it's completely unfair. It's like you play the Celtics. You like played them kind of even. Maybe the Celtics are up 6, second unit goes to the bench, or vice versa. You actually build a lead, and you're thinking, okay, this is our chance. Bench coming in, and now you've got this dude coming in off the bench shooting 45% on like 27 footers, dude. It's just so unfair, especially because we've covered it, the way that Tatum, likes to play off Pritchard as well. But yeah, the confidence is different now. It's not just like he's being used as this spot up guy. He's like completely empowered to take the ball, transition, pull up, step backs, coming off screens is the big one too. And it's like, I saw Trey on Twitter talking about this today, like him coming off screens being a new development. It's like, you have to get to him, because he's coming off these screens completely free, because teams don't want to send like more help at Pritchard. We're already sending so much help at so many guys. It's like, what, now we're blitzing Peyton Pritchard? And it's like, okay, well now
like, what is happening?
What are we doing here? Yeah, so it's an unsolvable problem if he's going to be doing this. And this is like the rest of the team's not even shooting that well, especially in the last 2 games.
Yeah, for sure. And like Pritchard had, I think, 40 total off-screen possessions per synergy last year. That's it. He's already up to like 15 or 16 this year, so he's going to blow that number out of the water. And he's one of the best players, one of the most efficient players in the league coming off screen. So I think we should talk to Hauser, maybe throw a little water on the fire here. But first, we got to get into an ad read. Let's hear a word from Game Time.
The wait is over. Celtics basketball is back, and Game Time is the best way to get your tickets to see the best team in the NBA. Game Time has tickets for all events, concerts and shows, not just sports. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite team even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We used Game Time to get our tickets to Summer League, and it couldn't have been easier. You could go see the Bucks in TD Garden for as little as $77, or maybe you want to drive to Charlotte to watch Tatum drop 50 on the Hornets as per usual. That will only cost you $26 to get in the building. Game Time has a lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, Create your account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time!
Woo. WVU basketball 2-0. Just
Okay.
beat my other alma mater, UMass. They look good, man.
Let's go.
We got a new coach. He's got us playing like
right.
the C's drive and kick game. So I will be using Game Time to catch some Mountaineers games this year. You better believe it.
All right, Hauser.
Go ahead. Take us away, Jake.
Well, I just want to know if it's the back or not. Like, is he like he hasn't? It's when you know that he's got like there's something going on. Your brain starts to like look more like is he moving differently? And so my brain starts to convince itself that he doesn't look 100% physically the same. But when I go back and watch it afterwards, he looks the same. Like he's missing shots. He did hit the biggest shot of the weekend, maybe with that incredible Tatum pass to the corner. So like he's still hitting them and he's still shooting them, importantly. And you've got the stats here. I'm not worried. It's just a small sample. This is what happens when it comes to shooters, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I have for stats. Like last year, he had 21 games where he shot under 30%. That's a quarter of the games, you know?
Sure.
It's kind of just the life of a guy who's, scoring is predicated on making 3-point shots. Last year, there was a 6-game stretch where 5 of them he shot 25% or under. And here's the one statistical difference I noticed. He is taking one more 3 per 36 minutes a game this year. And he is taking exactly one more tightly contested 3 per game. So essentially, he's added 1 3 and it's tightly contested, and he's shooting 7% on tightly contested threes this year. Last year, it was 29.5%. So not only is he taking one extra bad shot, he's also making them at a lot lower rate. And it's almost like that alone explains why he's shooting poorly as I punch my mic. Yeah. So it's like that one shot, if he just didn't take it, so he's missed 10 of those, all of a sudden he's shooting over 40% and we're not really even concerned. So he's just having a dip in 3-point shooting. I do think teams they definitely are more aware of him and stay with him a little more tightly, but that's good because then it just opens up even more space for the Celtics to dominate with their guards and Tatum and Jaylen. So we want teams being tightly contesting Hauser because that means you're screwed because you can't send help off of Hauser. And it's like that exact same dilemma where you're like, and now we're trapping Peyton Pritchard. It's like, now we can't even help off the dude who doesn't dribble. Now what do we do? Go ahead, please.
I wonder if, and this is again, I'm trying to read into it, but he's shooting 1 more per. He's been missing some shots. We talked a lot about him weaponizing what is exactly happening. Him being, higher on the scouting report, teams are more aware of his shooting, trying to run him off the line. Is he forcing a couple extra threes up when he should be driving and either making the right play or getting to that mid-range pull-up? I wonder if there's an element to him adjusting to this more contested 3-point shots. And so I wonder, he's just figuring the back thing threw off the rhythm. He's not playing as many minutes as I thought he would, and teams are guarding him a little tighter than he was last year. Those 3 things together, plus he's probably just missing some shots. I wonder if that's part of it. Because he's had some really nice drives to the rim as well, a couple of nice finishes. But I think that just even picturing some of the threes that he's taken, I'm like, you could probably drive those. But then at the same time, I have a million memories in my brain of him just hitting ridiculously tightly contested, quick trigger shots. So it's probably just nothing. And he's going to be scorching hot in a week from now.
Yeah, I feel like he's had a couple grenades too, where someone tosses it to him with 3 seconds on the shot clock, and he's just got to no dip it from the corner with a guy on him. So, again, early season, keep your eye on it, but not really concerned with Hauser. This dude's track record of being an elite 3-point shooter is not just his entire NBA career. It's basically since he was old enough to shoot a three. He's been a 40% 3-point shooter his entire
since
college
they were like
career.
tracking
Yeah.
it, probably like he may have even been longer. It's like they didn't have like legit statisticians when he was 11 years old.
You're right, but he was probably sinking them then. All right, we should probably talk fairly quickly about the Nets game here. 108-104. This was like a really awesome game, overtime game, terrifying overtime game in some ways. Cam Thomas with 31, my new favorite NBA player, the GOAT, Cam Thomas. Dennis Schroeder trying to get some revenge. He was really good, although only 2 for 8 from 3. I felt like he was like 5 of 6 at one point, but I guess not. What do you got for us on the Nets game? As
This is
my cat
just
steps all over.
This is just one of those like annoying games. It's like
Yeah.
you should like really win the game, and then as soon as it starts, like Cam Thomas is hit, and like I didn't think the defense was that bad at times either. I thought Cam Thomas was hitting like crazy shots on, and especially Cam Thomas. I thought Schroeder's just like he's just good, and especially when he has the car keys, he's like slipping past Cater, he's getting to the rim. Like I thought Schroeder was just solid, but this is what Cam Thomas does. Obviously, like he hits tough shots, but like 4 for 9 from 3, 11 for 22, like late shot clock stuff. It was just one of those games. And then on the other end, we were just ice cold. Like we could not, and we were generating really good looks as well. Like we've been talking about, Pritchard and all these guys playing so well, but like Drew, Derek, and Hauser were a combined 3 for 20 from 3. And that's just like unheard of for 3 dudes that have been 40+% over the past like couple of years. And so on any game like that, you're going to struggle. So it was just annoying, but it was also like, as you said, late. It got awesome. Tatum threw just like 2 of the filthiest passes, man.
Nasty.
Like the left hand mid dribble skip to Horford in the corner for 3, and then like the driving to the rim, no look, bounce pass to Hauser in the corner for like the biggest shot of the game. Like, cool moments.
Yeah, dude, that pass, it's almost like he 180'd just so he could throw it behind his back. I mean, I think he had to do that, but it looked sort of unlike any pass I've really seen him throw, because he loves the behind the back on the pick and pop. He hits that all the time. But yeah, and that one was even a little different than the Indy one, because the Indy was the other corner where it's kind of a more natural behind the back with the right hand. I mean, this was like, I'm turned around. Like, I thought he lost the ball. Like, I didn't even know where it was. And then all of a sudden Hauser's putting it, like shooting it. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Did that get like knocked away? So I had to watch it back, and I'm like, oh my God, he passed that. That was disgusting. Yeah, considering time and score, I mean, that was just a ridiculous pass. Yeah, this game was all about like us just not making our threes, which I actually think the way they closed this game and overtime, like they held them to 104 points in overtime. Like that's a ridiculously good defensive effort. And it's because the Nets were hitting some shit. So shot under 33% from 3. We were 8-12 in those games last year. Jake, we've done it 4 times this year.
Ooh.
Can you guess our record when we shoot under 33% this year?
Are we 3-1?
We are 4-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So not bad. We were 3-1 in the playoffs last year. So pretty damn good. This is, so the fact that they're grinding out these wins when the 3 ball isn't going, and especially since we've increased our 3-point volume from last year somehow, it's like we're kind of even more reliant on it, and it's still like it doesn't matter, man. They're just grinding out these wins, and like Brooklyn is not bad. Everyone was clowning them in our over-unders pod we did for the Patreon. I know you and I went over. I think all 3 of us went over. Like they have NBA players, and like those teams can be difficult to beat, especially when the shot's not going. So I thought this was a great win, like a really gritty, good win.
Yeah, look, sometimes the other team plays well, dude. Like, and that's like you've got to remember. Cam Thomas has been cooking. They took the Nuggets to overtime as well. 2 overtime losses, tough overtime losses for the Nets. Like they are capable. Look, I'm doing my victory lap. I got roasted in the Discord for saying the Nets, I think, actually have like 18.5 wins for that was so low when they've got like legit NBA talent. We'll see. They might end up trading a lot of it away, and
that's the problem. Yeah,
that would be potentially a problem. But don't need to belabor this game. Like to grind it out though. Like in these spots is the sign of a great team. When things don't go your way, can you find a way? And that's always what like people feel like they miss about the Celtics is like, yes, the threes and the offense is so incredible, but the defense, man, that's how they're able to that's why that their record is good when the threes don't go in still. It's just they're unbeatable when the threes do go in typically.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of threes not going in, Xavier Tillman, and Jake, you have a little bet with good friend Jack Simone.
Oh,
it's looking pretty good for you.
I want to emphasize, I wanted to be wrong about this. I would love for Xavier Tillman to be a 38% three-point shooter. I just didn't understand why everybody was so confident that he was going to be a good shooter. I was like, he has never been a good shooter so far. I get that the form looks good. There's heaps of guys' forms that look good that don't end up becoming good shooters. Again, hope I'm wrong. Tiny sample size. He's 3 for 14, 21% from 3. Just flagging it. He looks kind of just bad all around at the moment. So let's see. Just something to note.
And Ma Irene, I can't remember which pod, but we did a recent pod where there was a lot of Nemi love, and I'm sure we will have some Nemi love. He's been great. He's been really good.
Relative
compared to expectations. Yeah. So Nemi's been great, and we will certainly be talking about him a lot more going forward. Okay. I think we probably need to get into our last ad read here before we move on, which is a word from Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Sign up today, get $50 off instantly when you play $5. I wish I could sign up again to get that deal. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off, who's not? Make your pick in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. So this week, looking at the board, I don't care what the Jayson Tatum point totals are. I'm taking more on those. I hate to do it. He's a Laker. Can't deny Anthony Davis been absolutely balling. Give me more on his rebounds. I think it was 11 last game. And then Giannis, I think we're respecters of Giannis Antetokounmpo on this podcast. So his line, 29.5 points. Give me more on Giannis's points. So download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Check out Prize Picks. It's really fun. Adds a little spice to some of these non-Celtics games, more or less on whoever you want, whatever stat you want. Where do you want to go next, Jake?
All right. So this almost felt like it could be the year Tatum wins MVP. Obviously, it was, again, 11 games in, but it's like Luke has been garbage. Shea's been I'm like, KP out. Jaylen been out for a bit. Like, Tatum might be able to get the numbers. Three-point shot looks good. If he has a 38-6 on another 60-win team after winning the title, okay, you could see the path. The Nuggets aren't going to be that good. And that last piece is where it kind of falls apart, man. Like, do they need to make a second trophy for like second place?
Non-Jokic division.
Yeah, like it is insane. And like yesterday was kind of like the coup de grace of like, okay, well, the gap between him and everybody else in the NBA is just so wide right now. Like yesterday, one of the games of the year, I thought, but like Jokic has 37, 18 rebounds, 15 assists, 3 steals, and 13 for 21. He's just 3 for 3 from 3, 8 for 8 from the line. Like 37 points on 21 shots is just
nuts.
Like just not okay. It's just it's untouchable because he's so good at rebounding. Like he's so fucking tall. He's got the long arms. He's got incredible IQ and feel. He's like Dennis Rodman if Dennis Rodman couldn't leave the ground. Like Dennis Rodman reading the ball coming off certain angles. Except I can't do a Serbian accent to do the Dennis Rodman. Oh, it's going that way. Oh, Kareem up that way. But in a Serbian accent, imagine that. It's just never.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. It's just never going to happen. Like, if they win 53, if they win 50 plus games, they're a top 4 seed. Unless voter fatigue is like so powerful, but the gap's going to be so wide. Like, unless Tatum really like continues to be 62% true shooting and like the assists go up and the Celtics really rattle off like another 64, 65 wins, it's possible. But like, if we're being fucking honest, like it's just not a close conversation.
Yeah, they've won 5 straight. They were 2-3. Now they're 7-3. Do you know who's leading the league in rebounds? Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
Do you know who's leading the NBA in assists? Nikola Jokic. That's pretty ridiculous. He's averaging a triple-double, and it's 13 and 12. It's not like 10.1 and 10.2. It's a 13 and 12 triple-double on absurd efficiency and 30 points a game. Like, I love you, Tatum. You're a better defensive player, but the gap defensively just cannot make up what this dude. This is like turning into one of the greatest, if not the greatest season of all time, if he keeps up what he's doing. Like, this is insane, man. Like, it is just absolutely nuts. I don't really have words to describe it other than it feels fake. It feels like putting 2K on like rookie and just getting your dude up to an A+ every game. And it's like, I won the MVP because I led the league in rebounds and assists and points. And he's actually going to do that on like 65% true shooting. It's nuts, man.
And like, the team hasn't been good around him. Jamal Murray has missed time. Aaron Gordon's now out for a month. And in the games that Murray's missed 3 games, he's played 7. In those games, he's averaging 18 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists on 40% from the field. It's like it's been not good, dude. And so he's dragging like Julian Strother and Zeke Naji,
Christian Brown.
I like, and they're fine players, dude. But
they're okay.
Look at the Celtics team, dude.
Yeah, they're like their 3rd and 4th best players right now with Aaron Gordon out.
They wouldn't be on like half the Nuggets roster wouldn't even make the team, it feels like, on the Celtics, let alone start.
Peyton Watson is not getting minutes on the Celtics, and he's like their 6th man.
Yeah, him and Walshy could
nuts.
battle. He might beat Walshy for these minutes. That's true. That's maybe where he gets in. But like, he's fucking starting for them at the moment, dude. It's like it's insane. And then you flip it around the other end is when we get to the only chance of the Tatum winning it is if the Nuggets don't win enough games. But Jokic is so good in close games that they're like, their net rating is like kind of an indicator that they're not that good. But they played the most clutch games last year and they were amazing in them. They're just going to win more games than they should statistically. On the other side, Kyrie Irving was absurd. Like 43 points on 22 shots. He like barely. Like, even watching the game, I was like, does it feel like he has that many points because he's not taking that many shots? That is, every single one is going in. So that he was going nuts. And the best part about this is Luka. And so, like, clearly Kyrie should be the one to take pretty much every shot down the stretch because Luka has not been good in this game. Again, he ends the game 9 for 19, not terrible, 2 for 8 from 3. And you watch the game, dude, he takes like some garbage shots. We get on Tatum for like some bad shots. Some of the Luka shots are so ridiculous. And it's like they're down or they're tied at 120. And Luka just pulls up from like the logo with no passes and completely bricks it. And the Nuggets go down and win the game. And there's a tweet here from like someone I like to follow on Twitter. He's a Mavericks podcaster. Lost because 77, which is Luka, wanted to be the main character and took the worst shot ever. Let's talk about how often this happens because it does. Nobody can outshine him. Glory needs to be all his. It's been a thing since the KP days, and I'm completely over it. I love it.
I noticed you liked that one, Jake.
Bookmarked and liked.
I was stumbling on Reddit today, and there was a post that said, I'm going to get downvoted, which did not happen, but it has to be said. I hate Luka's attitude on the court, maybe also off, and I think the team is slowly betraying him. The look from Gafford tonight stuck with me.
Ooh.
And there's 262 comments from Mavs fans, all of them just about agreeing with this person. They're finally seeing what we saw. He's tall James Harden. Congratulations. He and most of the people were ripping on him for showing up not in shape, even though wasn't there all this talk about how he's in the best shape of his life and blah blah blah. And there's a lot of like lamenting about how awesome Dirk was and how much of a professionally he was and how much they miss that. And Luka's not that type of guy, so I love to see it. Calling him the main character is so true because NBA media has tried to make him the main character of the NBA since he came in the league, and Jokic has kind of stripped him of that. And Jokic doesn't want it at all. But we'll track it. Luka has not been good this year. I think he's like at 55 or 54% true shooting. It might even be worse than that at this point. But he has been inefficient. And obviously his defense has been terrible. Kyrie has been like their best player so far this year.
Yeah, Luka, see if I can find it here, 53.3% true shooting. And again, like scoring efficiency is not everything, but for certain players, it is for him. It really is for him. And he's been terrible, and it's not just that. It's all the same shit. It's the complaining to the ref. It's this part as well. There was a rebound that the Nuggets got, and he just like yells at whoever was around, like, you gotta get the rebound. And I went back and watched it like 3 times to be like, no one could have gotten that rebound. And it's just like, you can't yell. It's like, you've not done anything yet, dude. Like, LeBron is the king of this stuff. Like, hey, you guys screwed up that defensive assignment. He did that as well last night, like yelling at dudes for like, you got to play better defense. It's like, you just can't.
Okay, buddy,
you cannot, dude. You are like the reason we couldn't even be competitive in the finals defensively because you're a traffic cone. And so you've won nothing still, and you continue to be a cone on offense. On defense, you talk about the not coming back in shape thing when most guys are in shape. And for you to be like the best player and to like clearly not have completely untapped your potential or tapped your potential by not just like getting in the best shape that you possibly can. And there's a wide gap between what Jaylen Brown has done and Tatum have done physically and what Luka has done. Like, you could be not that in shape and still be in better shape than he is right now. And we fucking saw it in the finals, dude. He is not the guy. He's been the favorite to win MVP in the regular season like 5 years in a row now, and he's not going to win it because doesn't take the game seriously in a way that these other guys do.
Yeah, like he doesn't need to be top 1% worker like the Jays are. He needs to do whatever Jokic did, because Jokic had these exact same problems like 4 or 5 years ago. And then he finally just was like, all right, like, look at a picture of Jokic from like 6 years ago. And now he has definitely got himself into really good shape. And unlike Luka, Jokic actually provides some positive defensive value by being a good rim protector. And he's got ridiculous hands, and he's really smart, and he reads passing lanes. Luka has none of that. He has to be hyper efficient and a ridiculous playmaker on offense to be a positive MVP level player. If he's not doing that, he hurts your team because he is so bad defensively. And he is hurting the Mavs right now. And, just hate to see it. You really do.
Hate
it's
to
so
see
sad.
it.
Yeah.
And the NBA media just handed him consensus number 2 overall in the NBA and the league thing. And it's so
Giannis
fucking ridiculous.
Dead? What is going on?
At least fucking Giannis has given you 43 a night. That team's fucking battling. But the Mavericks roster is far superior. Like, Kyrie's playing so much better than Damian Lillard. Yeah, it's not even close. So that was tough. We've got a couple of little things here before we
let's rip it.
Get out of here. But
go ahead.
Knicks as well. So they lost to the Pacers yesterday, and just a tweet from Knicks Muse. I feel every Knicks fan knows deep down that we completely overpaid for Mikal Bridges, and I keep seeing this, but then it's always followed by some qualifier or caveat. But if the Knicks just win one championship during the Bridges tenure, the Knicks will 100% win this trade. Or it's like they don't want to be fully we made a mistake, but they know that they've you just can't pay this is Anthony Davis price for a guy that's just not as good as Derek White.
Yeah, man. I saw a number. I'm gonna see if I can bring it up here really quick. quick, but yeah, I think Mikal Bridges above the break 3-point shooting is just like absolutely terrible.
He was
yeah,
0
he's
for
shooting
6 yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, he's shooting 15% above the
Ooh.
break from 3. So the fact that he like being a corner spacer is valuable, but being a all over the court spacer is far more valuable, and he's not providing that value for them right now. And I think I may have just read the wrong Bridges. But whatever. It's not important. He's also terrible. They're both terrible from above the break.
That's
completely
awesome. Whatever, it doesn't
and
matter.
so like it affects his on-court value for them because they are so desperate for spacing. They really need it. I did not read the wrong Bridges. He is 15% above the break.
Very good. There we go.
Yeah, like everybody knew it was an overpay. I don't know why they overpaid. I don't know who was given 4 picks up for Mikal Bridges, but yeah, like he's just not like a huge part of their offense, and I don't think he ever will be with Brunson and Cat out there. And I don't think he's this like transcendent defensive, like he's a good defender, but he's not like, wow, this guy completely changed our defensive identity good. So yeah, man, like the timeline is now for the Knicks. They need to win it in the next couple of years. And I don't know if I see it.
No, it's not.
To
It's
be
not
honest.
happening, dude. Like
No,
Brunson's
it's
not that. Brunson's not good enough. Like he's a great player, but like he's a sub 60% true shooting 6'1" guard that like isn't an engine. He's like more of a scoring guard, and he's not good enough defensively. And then you just traded the rest of your assets mostly for Cat, who we've covered the defense, man. Tim Bontemps is the newest person to go viral for talking about how teams are shooting 91% at the rim against Cat. Like it's a fucking disaster. Like it's a disaster. Yeah. They're 4-5 on the season, obviously like early in the year, but everything that we said that would be a problem has been a problem, and that as well is a thing you just hate to see.
It's so bad. Oh,
Some of you,
so bad.
Yeah, it's tough. Some of you actually hate to see is Chet Holmgren like straight up broke his fucking hip yesterday in like an insane collision with Wiggins. Like again, this is like break, no more Schadenfreude. This is like straight up sad because he was having an awesome fucking season, but like kind of could be secretly good for the Celtics because I don't know if one, they're not going to win as many games. He was so awesome for them, and two, it's like 12 weeks. Or like it's like 8 to 10 weeks before it gets back to like doing stuff,
right? Yeah.
And like you could, man, it's just gonna be
Did
really
you see
hard.
His tweet?
Yeah, it did not seem super positive.
Yeah, he was like, I don't know whether to be like, look at this because I've already done it before, so like feel good about it, but I also remember like how hard it was to come back from something like this. And it's like, damn, man, that blows. He's like, 22 years old, and it's already a second major injury. Oh, and kind of a fluke too. So hopefully
you don't see that ever.
No. So hopefully Chet gets back and gets healthy. But
bad run of injuries. I mean, that's the worst one, like lengthwise. But like KD's gone down, Ja's gone down, Zion's gone down.
Zion, that never happens.
Yeah, Zion hamstring. We've never seen that before.
What?
I know. And then I mean, Aaron Gordon out for a month as well. Like, we haven't talked about the Cavs yet, so we're gonna do a proper Cavs show before the game next week for the NBA Cup. We'll get on Tony Pesta from the Cavs side of things and do a full like what's going on thing. But yeah, the NBA Cup does start tomorrow. Celtics, Hawks. And I want to win the cup. Like,
all right.
It's not a huge deal, but once we get to the knockout tournament, remember how shitty it was to lose that Pacers game in the quarterfinals, and then you got to watch them. It's like there's all solo games, primetime games in Vegas. I want Luke Cornett to get his 500K. I want Xavier Tillman to get his 500K. I want Jordan Walsh to get his 500K. Like, so tomorrow Hawks game. Is the first game of the NBA Cup. They've got the court changed. Well, firstly, Spoonie, out of 10 being winning the NBA title, as far as emotional investment goes, where are you emotional investment wise, NBA Cup?
So I think like a regular season game against like the Bucks or Knicks is probably a 5 for me.
Okay.
I will say a 6 or a 7. Like,
Okay.
I don't think I'd really care,
pretty good.
but I would be like in the grand scheme of things. I'm not going to think back on this season. It's like it would have been different had we won the NBA Cup. But also, like, I want them to win every game. And you're right, like there is more juice to these games. Like I didn't really expect it last year, but there was more juice, and I think guys are going to start really taking it seriously this year. Like they're competitive as hell, and you put them in a single elimination environment, especially. And they're going to be competitive. So yeah, give me a 7. I'm rounding up here. Give me a 7.
That's where I am. 6-7 range, just like a little more than those bigger regular season games. Yeah, man. And I like, can Missoula use it as a way, like some early season juice, try and build some competitiveness, where there wouldn't normally be at this time of year.
Yep.
That would be really fun. So the Celtics group is Celtics, Cavs, Hawks, Bulls, Wizards. In theory, the Cavs are the only team where it's a problem. It's only one team from each group goes through, so you kind of need to win that Cavs game, or there's one wild card team. That's right, Ben. It is a must-win. So Celtics injury report tomorrow. Horford, the big toe is back, so Horford will be out.
Pesky big toe.
Yeah, I'm kind of annoyed that they're resting Horford on the front end of the back-to-back. But Horford will be out with the big toe. Porzingis, obviously. Tatum is questionable with the ankle sprain. I'd be surprised if Tatum misses the game, because I'd be surprised if he misses any game, especially at home. NBA Cup, important. But on the other side, no Trae Young, no DeAndre Hunter, no Bogdan Bogdanovic, no Vit Krejci, who's like actually kind of important for them. So like, I've seen some people say this is a trap game, but I don't think this is. I don't know.
That is too many. That's like one too many bodies. I feel like if Trey was playing and it's just like Trey and a bunch of dudes, maybe we could see a trap game. Or Bogey and no Trey, because I feel like Bogey with like nothing to lose would go for like 35. But I feel like Trey and those guys who have been out for a while now, being out, I think the Hawks just kind of don't have enough for us, and we mopped them. Like we just kind of own the Hawks a little bit at this point. I feel like we're getting to that territory. So I'm not too concerned. If Tatum doesn't play, though, I mean, I feel like that changes the analysis a little bit, man, because Tatum is just so important to this team. But like Derek will just go for like 28 or something, and we'll win anyway.
Yeah, it's great to see, honestly, like if just non-NBA Cup-wise, like no Jaylen on the report at all. I don't think.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Yeah, man. Even if there's no Tatum, I don't like no Tatum, no Horford, but it's like Derek, Jalen, Drew, the big dog Pritchard. Yeah. This is kind of his spot. Yeah, 50 points for Pritchard.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, if Tatum's out, like I'm going to be loading up on Pritchard when it comes to prize picks. But I'm excited. The court looks fucking sweet. We're going to see the City Edition uniforms. I think Tatum plays. I think maybe he sits the next day. But I'm excited. We'll be live on playback, doing instant reactions, and late night tomorrow. So back at it tomorrow. Spoonie, it's been a pleasure. 7 minutes over. But I'm sure everybody in the chat enjoyed it. It's been good to be back into the swing of things. Until next time, go Celtics.
Peace.